I wanted to have a quick follow-up to a story we talked about last week. According to PW Torch, Malakai Black was criticized by colleagues in AEW who were frustrated by the perception that he was hesitant to, quote, doing business, including a reluctance to doing jobs and frequent claims of injury issues. One unnamed source, when hearing of the news of Malakai Black's likely departure, even went so far as to say, quote, good. The report goes on to state that although most assumptions are that he'll return to WWE, Malakai Black had told some people in AEW in the last year or two that he was burnt out and just wanted time away, and perhaps even mentioned potentially retiring. I bring this up only because we've seen this before in AEW. Multiple reports state that Miro and Andrade also didn't want to do business and job. While I understand both wrestlers likely didn't want to be buried or be underutilized based on what happened to them in WWE under Vince McMahon, but in this business, you have to do business. And Will Ospreay has been doing business. Seth Rollins is another good example on WWE programming and losing to elevate other talent. And it's not hurt Ospreay or Rollins one bit. So I just want to point out, it may not be all on AEW mismanagement, especially since we laid into their management last week in regards to Malakai Black. There are always two sides to a story. What do you think about this, Brent?
Nothing's changed. Like it's two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't think a guy like Malakai, if you know what your job entails you to do, and then you do it, because he did put over a lot of guys, but at the same time, they did nothing with him from the initial.
I agree.
He had that thing with Cody, and then there was fucking it. He's been there for how long? And he's had a total of 15 matches, singles.
15. I didn't know the full number, but anyway.
15.
Okay.
12 of which he won.
Okay. Which would put you, I think, territory for a world title shot or something.
Never happened.
Right. I don't disagree with that.
So
I
would understand like the frustration on my end of like, you want me to go out and do what? What am I like? At some point, it's okay. What am I going to get out of this?
Fair.
I can't keep, regardless of how you feel, bro. You're not going to want to work at one place and keep the same fucking position, even though you're going above and beyond your duty. You get what I'm saying? So if you look at it from his perspective, it's like, yo, all right, I got no problem helping this person. But at some point, you got to throw me a bone. And then you throw me a bone, and it's not even a full bone. It's scraps. I clean this off, but I got two other guys with me, and I got to manage that shit. So now everything I gave you to work with is gone because I got to do this. So, okay, cool, whatever. I'll change that just to help these guys. Which, by the way, those two guys didn't need to be in a fucking group neither.
Brody and Buddy?
Yeah. And if you were going to push them as a trios tag team, like, didn't do that. Make it mean something. That never happened. Those trios.
Well, they were trios champions at one point.
Yeah.
But to be fair, those trios titles have kind of been gone by the wayside at this point. They don't even talk about it much right now. I'm sure they'll come back around.
So again, I say,
yeah. It all depends on. We'll probably never know. I mean, was it one of those situations like supposedly Miro who just did not want to lose ever? If that's the case, you need to play ball. But if it's like what you're saying, at some point you got to kind of throw me a bone too. Then if that's the case, I see more Malakai side. It just all depends on what way it actually went down. And usually the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, you know what I mean?
Never know. Like I said, two things can be true at the same time. Could have been piss poor management, but could also been he just got fed up.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I didn't want everybody to think like, well, we only think AEW is to blame. That may not be the case.
No.
And it never is the case in a lot of these circumstances. It's only one side or the other.
Never want to lose is crazy work.
Yeah. And I get it, because they come from WWE, and especially in Miro's case, who got job to job. Mm-hmm. He probably didn't want to lose ever. But you can't take that out on the new guy either. But when it comes to, it obviously sounds like Malakai Black is definitely leaving. Then that also has now led to Brody King. He has filed to trademark the name Hounds of Hell. Could this be the name they used to move on from the House of Black? It sure appears that way.
But at the same time, like, reward them with something. Then push them as because individually they're fucking amazing. They literally put on two of the best matches. Well, Brody King's been killing it for a while.
Oh yeah,
and like Buddy what Buddy can do. So like,
great match with Will Ospreay lately.
That's what I'm saying. But if you're gonna make them a team or keep this fucking faction shit, which I don't understand, and that's with a lot of shit too. Like I don't understand why have so many factions and or teams, but then you don't utilize them. And the same thing goes for WWE. I don't get that part, but push them. Don't let this shit stagnate to where then like, let's say their contracts are coming to an end and they want to leave, but now you start to hear stories about how they weren't easy to work with because, like, what do you want from people? At some point, you know your own worth. Either use that and make yourself better and get what you feel you owed or you earn, or leave.
Just like Penta, Ray, Ricky Starks, and a few others are going to be leaving as well.
Like,
and there will be people who leave WWE. It's just, this is the way nature of the business, really.
Yeah, Ricochet.
It's just kind of sad. It's the dark side of the business.
Ricochet left WWE because he felt he could do better and he deserved more. This is the same situation, but you just didn't get the fact that Ricochet was difficult to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't hear that story. But I don't know what he was like backstage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no fucking idea. We're just hearing shit from people he's leaving and they're upset about it. Like, why? Because it ain't you? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I guess time will tell, but it definitely looks like Malakai Black is out of AEW for sure. Mike said, when you have a stacked roster, unfortunately, someone is going to get the short end of things. Can't make everyone happy. Not everyone can always win. That's exactly right.
That's the truth. But at the same time, you wanted those guys for a particular reason. You pushed those guys. Look, okay, fine. Take the WWE aspect out of it. We'll go with one of your own. In the beginning, you were pushing the shit out of the Cowboy. What's his name?
Hangman Page.
Adam Page.
Yep.
The Cowboy. And then you just killed it.
Well, I don't know. He's getting a hell of a push now.
Well,
they had a great year.
Think about from the start of AEW. At the start of AEW, they were pushing Cowboy as that was their guy. That was the guy that was. Yeah, we all knew that Chris Jericho was going to win that title first, but they were pushing Hangman Page through the fucking roof. And then he had that match with Omega, and then that was it. And then I know he had a kid and all this other shit, and he got hurt, and he took some time off or whatever.
Yeah,
when he came back, and then the story with him and Strickland, yeah, it pushed him to the fucking moon. But in the beginning, it was this big lead up and build up to Cowboy. That was like when he came out in the what do they call them? It's not Rumbles. What do they call them? The casino. Yeah. When he came out, like, that crowd blew the fuck up, and it was dope. We watched it. It was dope.
Regardless of how you feel whether or not they booked him properly or not, he's always had a fan base who's loved him ever since he came to.
Everybody has a fan base.
Who loves him. That. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, so much so, yeah.
You know, like, I understand what you're saying, but like, what I'm saying is, like, there's specific moments in wrestling in time where, like, they were on the it list. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who it was, but then that shit dies off unless you do something to fan the flames. And like, that's, for me, a lot of the time, that was one of the Vince's biggest criticisms later on. Like, he would start to push these guys, and then like 2 weeks later, they don't matter. That's what this shit feels like. These guys get there and they're hot deals, and then all of a sudden it's just gone.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times in AEW too, I know Tony Khan's been, like, you know, very open about how if somebody needs some time off or they got a prior engagement, he'll allow them to go do that. Mm-hmm. But that does affect your booking. So it may be in you know, used it to kind of give the wrestler, you know, freedom and leeway to live their life outside of pro wrestling. If that's the case, I like it. That's good. But yeah, it does kind of maybe, you know, hamper your show a little bit when you do this sort of thing too. So I get that. I mean, Mike said, is Wardlow injured or something, or have I just missed him? Only watch Dynamite. No, Wardlow is one of those, again, it sounds like, you know, he probably that if you want to talk about a stop and go when it comes to booking, Wardlow is the poster child for that at AEW.
I guess
they've tried 2 or 3 times, it didn't work, and they just gave up, or he may be on the outs, you know.
Well, didn't it work? Like, everybody was cheering for him. That whole MJF thing blew him up. Like, the crowd was chanting.
And then it kind of went stale. And then they tried to change it up, and it kind of went stale. But yeah, part of that, it could be just
that's booking. Like, like, you can't keep having a guy do squash matches every night. That gets boring.
No, and that's the thing too. I kind of didn't know if he was able to do a long, like, competitive, like, Will Ospreay,
never knew because it never happened. And
that's true too.
No, Will Ospreay, there's only a few people you can put in that fucking ring that can hang with somebody like him, period. So that's a bad comparison. You can't say that. Like, it's just like saying taking somebody and throwing them in the ring with John Cena in his prime.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah, I get you.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna happen. But we don't know because we never got the opportunity to see it either.
Right. Thank you for checking out this clip of the Dragon's Den podcast. If you like what you saw here, please consider checking out our live podcast almost every single Friday night here on the channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And until our next video, guys, take care and God bless.